Howdy, y'all. Welcome back. Thank you for being here. I want to talk to you today about the world's fairs, and more specifically, I want to talk about Tartaria in relation to these world's fairs. What does it mean to be a kingdom? Throughout the Middle Ages, into roughly the 18th century, Tartary, Tartaria, Grand Tartary, and a cornucopia of different yet similar names were used to describe a sprawling kingdom which today would amount to large portions of Russia, China, northern India, as well as parts of Turkey, the Middle East, and even parts of Europe. This kingdom, which today is considered by mainstream scholars to be little more than a pseudoscience or a pseudo-history, actually had a flag or flags which consisted of an emblem of sorts, being the griffin, also a double-headed eagle. As I searched for quality images of the 1873 World's Fair that was held in Vienna, the one structure that appears to have stood out the most was the Rotunda. The Rotunda was 276 feet tall with a diameter of 354 feet. In my research, I came across one image that was the most striking of really any of this World's Fair. And when we zoom in on the image, we can see an immense gateway, a portal of sorts, welcoming people into the contents of this fair. We also have photographs labeled to be construction. Behind this gateway, in the distance, we can see the rotunda in this image, but for reference, we see many men in the bottom of the photograph, seemingly barely visible behind the sheer height of this architecture that was supposedly built just for this World's Fair. The rotunda survived until 1937 when it was accidentally burned down by fire. The rotunda, up until that time, was the largest dome in the entire world. However, when we look at the gateway, which is what I want to focus on, when we zoom in, not only do we see the architecture, the carvings here, the embellishments that were fit for the finest of palaces around the world, but we actually may be able to decipher a bit more about this history. Atop the gate sits a pair of griffins, and between them, ever so slightly visible on this photograph, is the double-headed eagle, appearing quite weathered for a construction that is supposed to be all but new at the time of this photograph. Is this the remnants of something greater? Is the World's Fair, or all of the World's Fairs, a ruse that was used to proclaim new ownership for a once unified set of structures? To further this discussion, I'd like to turn to the 1888 World's Fair in Barcelona. Here, intriguingly, we also have an immense, if not miraculously built gateway, known as the Arch of Triumph, which opens up these great creations to the public of Barcelona. This triumphal arch, a structure we see in many of the most important cities worldwide, may be a key piece to the puzzle. However, when we look further into the narrative regarding Barcelona's World's Fair in 1888, we also find this majestic victory column. Again, this architecture appears to be constructed to last, a worthy feat of engineering which could be from the very ancient world, and yet it comes to us, according to the narrative, from the industrial age. Beauty aside, as we zoom in on the fascinating details of this pillar, said to be constructed for the World's Fair in honor of Columbus, we see about a quarter way up the structure near the top of the base a set of griffins flanking the corners of the pillar. These griffins appear to be holding up 4 spheres, which may be considered a tongue-in-cheek reference to something more esoteric involving the origin of these structures themselves. I'll leave these photographs with you to make your opinion.